Hi, my name's Sean. I'm going to show you how I am building my E-11 First Order Stormtrooper Blaster. I keep wanting to say New Order, but it's First Order Stormtrooper Blaster. The First Order is the Stormtroopers from the new Star Wars movie. And I was looking at some pictures of ones that people are selling on eBay and Amazon, and they're wanting like $150 to $200 for these 3D printed plastic, kind of really nice looking, but just kind of expensive versions of their E-11 blaster. And so I was looking at the parts or the picture on those websites, and I was thinking, man, that looks a lot like pieces that I have seen in PVC usage, the kind of parts that you use from making sprinklers. And so I, I thought to myself, I want to try to build that out of sprinkler parts. And it's not totally out of sprinkler parts, but it has a lot of parts from sprinklers that I've used before. And so I'm going to show you my parts and the tools that I use to do it. I used a lot of razor blades. I used a file, handheld file. You always want to wear glasses whenever using tools that are going to spray things, spray wood chips or metal filings. And so I use the Dremel a lot, and I'll show you where I use those at. The first thing you do is get yourself a picture. I just took one of those pictures on eBay and Amazon, and I printed it on a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And it was a side view. It was a really good view because you see a lot of detail here. And then what I did was I measured how long I wanted it to be compared to how long it is on the piece of paper. And then I used some math to convert it. So if you take the length of this, it's like 9 inches on this picture, but then I converted it to, I wanted about 19 inches long. I figured because I'm 6'4", I need a little bit longer gun. So you could always shrink these things down and kind of fit it to you, but I try to keep it proportional to what the gun looks like, so that when I'm done, it'll look just like a larger version of the gun. It might be a little bit bigger than the ones they sell on eBay that are 3D printed, but it should look pretty close. And I'll make this video in steps. Right now I'm kind of about halfway through it, and then after I get it painted and everything, you'll be able to see the final version. But right now I wanted to do this video before so that you could see kind of what it looks like. So if you get into the nitty-gritty of the picture and the details, you'll kind of see why I made the pieces I made, because if you look really closely at least this version, you'll see that I wanted to have certain things there. And so the first thing I did was I took a piece of wood and I cut it out on my saw. And so you do need access to a saw for this part if you can use wood. You could just get a handheld saw and like cut it out like that. And then I drew this shape out first. It's about 19 inches long. And then I used drills to drill through this and kind of a jigsaw here. But most of the straight pieces I used a table saw. And so I copied like the slope, and I kind of had to draw this out so it looked really good first beforehand. And then I kept checking the picture. I look at the picture and look at that and look at where all the lines and where things coming down from. And so that's how I got my wooden shape here. I was able to get some frontal pictures, and so I could see the width. And that was the other thing, is the width is about an inch, I think. Maybe just a little bit less than an inch on the width. And so you're going to have to do this part yourself, make a template of how long it is, but it's about 19 inches from here all the way over to here. And so once you get this template out of the wood of the bottom half, see how it's kind of like if you take this whole cylinder off of here, it's just a piece of wood down there below. And I used some scrap wood. I don't like to pay for a whole lot of junk, so I went to a dumpster near our house that has some wood house construction. And I wouldn't suggest taking anything unless it's like being thrown away, because then it looks like you're stealing, and that's not a good idea. So I took and got some scrap wood, and I cut that out, and then I sanded it down a little bit, and then this, you kind of have to do a little measuring, looking at the picture, seeing how far it sticks out, the back to the front, and then I took a long piece of pipe. It's about 19 inches long, and this is just 1 inch PVC pipe. And then a bunch of these pieces are just pieces you get from the plastic sprinkler parts. So like this piece right here, you know, it's just a cap that you see in the store, and I sanded it down. It's got a sanding down on the outer edge to kind of give it the cone shape, and then I sanded the back, and then I sanded the inside so it'll slide on and off this 1-inch pipe. So it's a 1-inch PVC pipe, 1-inch cap, and it'll slide on and off. And then these pieces, if you see, they're kind of moving a little bit. These pieces are just 1-inch PVC fittings, and this is a coupler, so it's there to join two pieces of 1-inch pipe. And this is a piece that I cut off a three-way union, a three-way T. This is called a T because normally this piece is here and it looks like a T shape almost. So I cut that off and sanded it down and put it on here. And then the bottom half, if you look right here, I flattened it out so that it would sit right here as flat. I sanded it down. I just sanded it, sanded, and I sanded it until I had a kind of good flat surface, so that if you look right here, there's hardly anything left between the inside and the bottom, because I wanted it flush. I wanted it flush with the wood. Because if you look in the picture, there's not really a gap. So again, I'm trying to copy, and there's going to be small little details that are going to be harder to get perfect this way, but it'll look pretty good. And at Halloween, I'm going to dress up as a Stormtrooper with my new helmet I got for Father's Day. So the next thing you do, after you cut this out and sand it down and try to get the pieces right, and again, it all starts with this. Once you measure this all out, measure all of the things in real measurements, and then convert them with some math, like, you know, basically you're doubling the length of everything and just a little bit extra. And then I use those measurements to make these measurements and how long everything should be and how long my spacer should be. Then the next piece I needed was the little guard that goes below. It actually goes like this. And so I kind of drew that out. I used measurements to see how long it was on the picture, and then I converted it to my larger measurement. You know, that's basic math where you times a percentage of something like 180% or whatever to 100% bigger to get it longer. And then I got this piece. So this is all wood. It's a little bit wider than the main part. If you look at pictures in the front, this piece is a little wider. This is the piece that kind of rotates down. And I won't have time to probably make this rotatable from the before Halloween comes, but I'm going to put a hinge on here eventually, so it'll rotate down. That's going to be a little harder with the woods, but probably in the beginning I'm just going to screw it on. The next I have, so I estimated these pieces out. This is just a T again. A T is, I'll draw it out for you. You can find these in your store. This is a version of a T, and it's basically just this piece of it is cut off. It's like an L shape. I cut this whole thing off, and a T is just like this. This is a T. A T is just look like that, a small version of a T. This is upside down, of course. This is what this looked like, and I've trimmed it down. You can see where I've trimmed down this part, and this goes in the scope. Here, I cut off the whole side of the T, and then I took a Dremel, and this is where a Dremel is really nice to have. I took a Dremel and I cut into it right here. Now, this is something, if you don't have permission from an adult, you need permission from an adult, and make sure you wear eye protection. And I cut those pieces out like that so that I could give the scope. This is going to be the scope. And all these pieces, again, are 1-inch pipe up here. The scope I use is 3/4 inch pipe. So again, this is a PVC pipe. Again, I thought, oh, I could use PVC to make this. This is a PVC T that I cut 3/4 inch T fitting, and this is just a coupler.